video in conversation with Mr. Fali Nariman. Sir, my next question to you is, you are quoted to have said that law is a matter of heart as well as head. Would you like to kindly elaborate?
Well, it's not, yes, certainly. It's not merely law. Human beings are endowed with intellect, such as each one has or does not have, as well as emotion, the heart, and very often the heart governs the head. Very often the heart governs the head.
The feelings and emotions.
The feelings and emotions, and you cannot resist that because it's a mixed thing. You can never say that this man is a total intellectual and has no heart at all, because then he is no man at all, quite frankly. A man has to have that mix of heart and head. So a lawyer must also have a mix of heart and head. And a lawyer with a heart is a person who must be in a position to say, even if he is appearing for a particular case in a particular matter, when something is monstrously wrong, to defend it would be absurd. He should have the ability and the competence and the clarity to say, yes, my lord, I think the other side is right.
To admit failings in one's case.
In one's case, because no case is perfect. And this I learnt from India's first Attorney General, Motilal Setalvad, who was very kind to me when I came here in 72, after he had retired, long after he had retired. And I always found his argument, because he opposed me, I used to appear with him, sometimes he would oppose me in the Supreme Court. He'd never give up a case. But if the judge would say that, but Mr. Setalvad, what you say doesn't seem to be correct, he'd just stand there, himself put his hand in his pocket and say, that's all, my lord, that's all, that's all. So you knew that he had no answer. But then that's the heart and head working together. That's the heart and head working together, which is very important.
Those were very important days, and you have said that time there were only 3 law officers.
Yes, 3 law officers. Absolutely. And that always gives you a far better approach to matters.
Moving on, sir, you have also commented that how to work the Constitution is far more important than how to write it. This also requires some elaboration from you, sir.
Right, good. I will. You told me this a few days ago. I remember. And I jotted it down.
Okay.
You see, there's a very nice quote from on the 50th anniversary of the Constitution, when President Nariman was a very charming person and a very efficient president, one of our best presidents that I thought was one of our best presidents. And he said something very, President K.R. Narayan's address on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Republic of India in the Central Hall of Parliament. The date is 27th January 2000. This is what he said. Today, when there is so much talk about revising the Constitution, or even writing a new Constitution, we have to consider whether it is the Constitution that has failed us, or whether it is we who have failed the Constitution. Remember? Yeah.
It's very aptly brought out, yes.
And then, the President went on. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, as President of the Constituent Assembly, had pointed out, if the people who are elected are capable of character and integrity, they should be able to make the best of a defective Constitution. If they are lacking in that ability, the Constitution cannot help the country.
This was Dr. Rajendra Prasad.
Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And Narayanan said, I believe these are wise words which we should always pay heed to.
I think coming from you now, those people who were not aware about that 2000 remarks of President Narayanan,
Yes.
they would appreciate it now.
Yes,
And yes,
he was a man, he always thought of matters. He used to, he was quite frequently consulted me on Rashtrapati Bhavan, he summoned me and asked me certain. But he would ask me, he'd ask other advocates also, not just me, and then decide on his own what to do. Exactly what his own. He would never reveal what he wants to do. Whether he should impose president rules, whether he should not impose president's rule. This is the sort of thinking president that we must have. And we sometimes have, sometimes don't have. But this is the importance.
that distinguishes, yes.
But this is the importance even of a non-performing executive head of state. He is very important. He is very important, very important. Because he can bring wisdom to bear
In the affairs of the state.
without saying that I have to decide. He doesn't have to decide. The government has to decide. The Prime Minister has to decide. If anybody goes out, it's the Prime Minister who goes out, never the President.
Rightly, now that you have just spoken good words, so profound words in appreciation of President Narayanan, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Now, if you were to name the three most competent Chief Justices of India, as you have practiced before them, what names come to your mind, sir?
Well, I can certainly name at least two first. Chief Justice Subbarao.
Subbarao.
Yes, outstanding. Of course, he had the penchant for converting all his dissents into majority judgment when he became Chief Justice. But he had that intellect. He had that.
He could do it with wisdom.
With
Yes,
wisdom and correctly do it. And I still remember when he could take anything that came from advocates even. I remember in Golaknath, where I was briefed very young to appear. Golaknath was a bench of 11 judges which sat, and Subbarao presiding. And what's his name? The minister who died in that air crash.
Kumaramangalam.
Kumaramangalam, yes, sorry. Mohan Kumaramangalam, brilliant advocate from Madras, brilliant. And he told the judge that if you do not give Parliament the power to say what it liked when it amended the constitution, there is going to be a revolt, a revolution in the country. So Subbarao took it in his stride. He just shook his head like that from side to side and said, now please proceed further. He was one. The second was perhaps in his time, Justice Venkatachala. He was the last of the Mohicans, if I may so put it, because I am a little preferential to the old times, because they all occur to me. Because he had both the moral fiber and the intellect to be appreciated not only by the bar but by his own colleagues. They'd all look up to him. You must have a Chief Justice who is looked up to, even by his colleagues, because then he becomes an influence bearer.
He could earn their respect as well. Yes,
respect. And it is because you see, he had that quality which many judges have to cultivate. I still remember there was a party in person. No, there was not a party, right? There was a lawyer from South India or somebody, who in one case I was present in court. That's all. I wasn't in that case, and he needlessly raised his voice, as some of us do. You see, when he got excited. At which Justice Venkatachala, who also never did, suddenly got excited and responded sharply to that lawyer. Immediately he did that. He put his brief down and said, no, Mr. So-and-so, sorry, today is not the day to hear your case. We'll hear it 2 weeks later, and adjourned it. That means your emotion, the heart, suddenly took over from the mind and said, no, not today. we'll hear it at some other time when our mind is properly focused. Today, because of your shouting and my shouting, the mind is not focused. You see, that makes a lot of difference. And that's why I say these are great judges.
So, two you have named, sir.
Two have named. I can't name a third, quite frankly. I can't name a third at the moment in my time. But I was told, and I had great respect for him also because I knew him after he retired. Justice S.R. Das.
S.R. Das, yes, sir.
Who was Ashok Sen's father-in-law. He was a very charming old man. We had met him after he retired in Kalimpong, my wife and I. He was full of old times, and he must have been a great judge, reading his judgments. And I do remember that he was a judge who came up from the High Court and then the Supreme Court, and he was one judge whose judgments were never reversed from the High Court. Never.
That's something outstanding, yes, very uncommon, very uncommon. Yes.
And this I say only on hearsay because I had never practiced before him at all. But I knew him after he retired. And he was one of the most charming